Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you've been having a great week. I thought this week it might be helpful to talk about book advances. Whether you're going the traditional route or self-publishing, you're probably going to run into book advances and advanced terms either on your book contract or on third-party contracts for an app or for audio rights, anything of that sort. So it's always good to know what it means when you have a book advance, what it means to earn out, what it means to sign up for joint or separate accounting, and how all that connects together. Self-publishing or traditional publishing, you will most likely have a phenomenal agent that can walk you through this process. But just so you're already aware of what these terms mean and how they can work on your contract, I thought it'd be useful to go through sort of a bare bones outline of book advances and what is all involved in that to help you as you make these decisions. A book advance is exactly what it sounds like. It is an advance of money that the publisher or company, whoever you're signing with, is agreeing to give to you on certain terms that you will pay back as you sell books and earn royalties. And usually this contract is set in certain terms of when you will get this money and how it will be paid back. So, for example, generally traditional publishing contract terms are in thirds. So if you sign a 2-book contract deal and they give you $20,000 for those 2 books, generally it'll be divided out into thirds. So you'll get a third of that money on the signing of the contract. You'll get another third when you deliver the books, and you'll get a third on publication. And those are terms that you can negotiate. That isn't necessarily how your contract will be defined, but that's generally how that works. Now, the question you want to ask yourself as you start to look at these contracts, as you start to talk with publishers, is if they offer an advance, do you even really want an advance? So an advance a lot of times in the publishing world can be a bit glamorous. So if you get a really big advance, it's a huge deal, it gets announced, it's really great, and it is awesome. It's a show of faith from the publisher because, again, this is money they're giving you in advance. So they are confident that not only do they want to sign you, so it's an incentive, but also that they are going to get that money back, that they think your writing, your book is going to do extremely well. So it is a great show of faith. And an advance can be really helpful because if you're looking to make this a part-time or full-time career, that advance money can help you maintain your bills, your life, your however you're paying for everything, or just, be able to put that money back into your writing business as you're writing these books instead of having to wait to make money until the book comes out. Because depending on if you're going traditional publishing or it's a different agreement in self-publishing or whatever agreement you're deciding on, it could be a while before your book comes out and you start seeing those earnings. So advances can be extremely helpful. But there are things to consider when you're looking at whether or not you want an advance and how big of an advance you want to agree to, because you have to keep in mind that, again, you'll be paying this money back. So when you sign for an advance, you get that money, they're paying you that, you do have to earn out. And what that means is you need to pay that money back. So you will agree to royalty terms in your contract as well, whatever those may be. And so as you sell books or sell audiobooks or make money on an app, whatever agreement you go into, then that money will go to paying back that advance, towards earning out that advance before you will see a return on those royalties. So you will have received money early, but you're not receiving more money. I feel like that's a common misconception. People look in advance as something that it's a really huge deal that they're getting all this extra money. It's not extra money. It's money that you are getting in advance, and then as your books or your content sells, then you're paying the publisher that money back. Once you've done that, then you'll start receiving more royalties. So part of the argument as to whether or not you want to look at having a big advance or not is how quickly do you want to start receiving royalties, because it may take some time to earn out that $20,000, or if you have a higher advance, certainly it's going to take more time. And not only can it take longer to earn out if you have a bigger advance, but there's always the risk that you may not earn out depending on if your books don't perform. It's always a risk. So if your books don't earn out, if you don't ever pay the publisher back that money that they advanced to you, they may not sign you again. Now, again, that's not always necessarily the case. The publisher is very well aware that a lot of times there are bad markets, things don't hit right, maybe it wasn't the right timing, everything like that. So it isn't necessarily the worst worst thing to happen, but obviously everybody wants to earn out. Everybody wants to make tons of money on their books. And again, the publisher wants that as well. They want to set you up for success. They're a business. They want to make money as well. So again, this is something that you want to consider. Finally, as you're considering deciding on what you want to do with advances and how you want that structured in your contract, you should be aware of what joint accounting and separate accounting means. So this is going to be a term in how your advance is set up. Joint accounting means if you sign a book contract for a certain amount of money, joint accounting means however many books you sign, they are jointly accounted. They are put together. So to jump back to my example earlier, if you sign a 2-book contract for $20,000, that means between those 2 books, you need to earn $20,000. You need to earn out $20,000 to give back to the publisher, that money that they paid you in advance, before you'll start seeing royalties. And you can earn that money on either book. So if book 1 really explodes and you sell tons of copies, you make $20,000 in the first month, year, however long, that's great. You've earned out, now you're making royalties and you're heading on along your way. But the tricky thing with joint accounting is even if the books are doing relatively well, they're coming along, you're selling books pretty steadily, it's just not flying off the shelves, you do still need to make that full $20,000 back of your advance before you'll see any royalties. So it can take longer if you have joint accounting. The other option is to have your books separately accounted. And what this means is that while your books are signed on the same contract, they are separately accounted. So if you signed a book contract for, again, 2 books, $20,000, that will most likely mean there's $10,000 on the accounting for book 1 and there's $10,000 on the accounting for book 2. It's not necessarily divided as evenly as that, but for the sake of my math and sanity, we're going to go with that. So definitely take a look at those terms. And what this means is that you can earn out faster on book 1 because you only need to make that $10,000 before you'll start seeing royalties. So agreeing to that separate accounting can be beneficial to the author because you're going to earn out on book 1 faster and you're going to see royalties on book 1 faster, even if you still owe money on book 2. But if for some reason book 2 doesn't do very well, it doesn't earn out, that still can have ramifications, because if you don't earn out on book 2, even though you are making royalties, you're selling on book 1, that's still a consideration in the publisher's mind. They still have that advance on book 2 that they are waiting to be paid back. So maybe they'll decide that they don't want to continue that series because clearly book 2 isn't doing so well. So again, these are all things that you want to consider as you're looking at signing an advance in your book contract. It could be really beneficial, it could be great for your publishing career, and maybe exactly what you need for that book, that contract, where you're at in your publishing journey. Or it might be better to prioritize negotiating other terms, such as your royalty percentage, your audio rights, your either world, North American, whatever kind of rights you want to sell to the publisher or the contract that you're looking at currently. It's all pieces to the same puzzle that you should consider as you're moving forward, and definitely talk to your agent about before you sign any sort of contract. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or anything is still unclear, I know there's a lot of terms and possibly new terms for some of you in this video, don't hesitate to reach out, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and until next week, keep writing.